Unleash the hopeless romantic within. Welcome to the Lover List, where we bring you the most swoon-worthy love, dating, and relationship stories straight from Reddit. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. How do I, 28 male, handle you're not listening to me type arguments with my partner, 29 female? I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'll try to explain it more in depth. Often, when we have a fight, fairly regularly of late, unfortunately, the situation is escalated by her saying you're not listening, and me responding emphatically, repeatedly, that I am listening, I just disagree and we should discuss the disagreement further. An example, as verbatim as I can manage. I feel stressed every day when you're coming home from work. She works from home, because I feel like I am pressured to clean my dishes, walk the dog, etc. before you get home. I feel this way because you always complain about it. Me, I don't always complain about these things. Sometimes it's a bit annoying, sure, but honestly, because I do it most of the time I feel unappreciated, and sometimes I might ask you share the responsibility more evenly with me. No, you're not listening to me. You don't understand. Me, I'm listening. I'm sorry I've made you feel that way. I'm just trying to explain. Then the situation devolves from there and turns into this big thing. I'm certainly not blameless, don't get me wrong. It's so frustrating. Honestly, it feels like I'm trying to have a more meta discussion about the fight itself, and she's just trying to have the fight. But she hates fighting and gets very distraught by it, which makes me feel like total crap. I dunno. I'm just at a loss as to how to deal with it. If anybody has advice, I'm all ears. As an autistic who have accidentally f***ed up on this type of thing quite a few times, I think I can somewhat explain what's happening. People under some form of pressure or distress rarely want you to explain why you are doing the thing that makes them even more stressed. It comes across like a justification of why you do it and will continue to do it, which can easily comes across as the distress/need she communicated to me is less legit valid because I have a justification for doing it. This means that you are only addressing the practicality of the situation, but not that it is distressing her and how, which can easily feel like you are invalidating her feelings by not understanding how they come into play here at all. You're not listening to how it affects her emotionally, because you don't address it and just justify why you do it. If this happens often, it can easily start to feel like you don't find her emotions to be valid, because you can always explanation and justify why the thing that is causing her distress is actually a good solution. I'm not saying that that is your intent at all, but how it can come across. For me, I've had to have a lot of meta conversations about conversations with the people in my life. They understand that I miss social things in case even when I try my absolute best and don't have ill intent, but they also can still get frustrated and hurt. Just like they know that they can confuse me and accidentally hurt me in the same way. Since we value each other, we take the time to sit down and have conversations about how to have conversations, what we need from each other, and how we can meet those needs. It can be hard and a bit weird at first, since a lot of people know that they are feeling a certain way, but can't just put into words why without sitting with it for a bit and examining. Your partner might know that she feels like you don't understand, but might not be able to put into words exactly why or how to fix it without sitting with it for a bit. At least it was like that for a lot of holistic friends and my partner, but we worked together as units that could trust that everyone there wanted to understand and wanted the other to be happy and feel secure. ETA, thanks for the awards and convos. It warms a little socially confused heart to see that there can come some good from my special interest in understanding holistic social communication. I'm getting notifications for comments that I can't find when I go to them, so sorry if I miss anything, not sure where they're going. Boom. Spot on. I can be this way. I try to repeat what the other person says back to them with "okay, here's what I think I heard you say. Is that right?" Works wonders. You're hearing her, yes, but not actually listening to her. There is a bit of a difference. Your example essentially translates to this. I'm stressed because I feel like I have to have the dishes done and the dog walked before you get home, otherwise you're going to be upset with me. No, I'm not. You're thinking too much into this. You just need to share the chores more evenly with me instead of stressing about it. The point of what she is saying is that, because you have gotten annoyed and complained more than once about the chores. She is feeling stressed about making sure they get done before you get home from work, which she may not always be able to do as she might have other things she needs to get done that way. Instead of telling her that she's wrong to be stressed about the expectations and about whether or not you'll be upset with her, you could try instead to say something that amounts to, "I'm sorry I've caused you to be stressed out. You absolutely do not have to have them done before I get home, and I'm sorry that I've made it seem like that. Can we sit down and talk about how the chores and household duties are split? The reason I've been complaining about them isn't because I expect you to have them done, but because I feel that I've been doing them most of the time and would just like a little more help with them, but I should have talked to you about it instead of just complaining at you for not doing them." It's the same basic point, but you're not being dismissive of her feelings. You're acknowledging them, acknowledging how your actions, the complaining, regardless of how often it is done, has caused those feelings, and instead of saying just do more, you're asking to sit down and work together to find a solution that will help alleviate both of your complaints, her stress over you complaining, and you feeling like you do most of the work and aren't appreciated for it. It seems like the two of you are talking at each other and not with each other. If you want to continue on in this relationship, I highly recommend couples counseling to get past this, not uncommon, communication roadblock. That's the impression I'm getting too. It seems like they both want to communicate effectively but are just failing to do so. Communication is a skill, and just like every other skill, you need to learn exactly how to communicate with someone by using the proper tools and then practice over and over. This is where the help of a professional can come into play, even if it's just a couple sessions where the therapist can give you both some tools to communicate better. I really wish there were communication classes and workshops like there are for learning parenting and driving skills. Mayhaps there is, but I've not heard of them. Regardless, when it comes down to it, therapists are basically teachers in communication. They teach you not only to communicate with others, but to communicate with yourself. Sometimes listening means not replying or defending yourself. She may be frustrated that you feel the need to defend yourself after she expresses her feelings. A way I've explained it is, when your partner is telling you how they feel, if you are actively thinking of how to respond, that isn't listening to them. It's justifying your actions. Listening is an active event. It requires you to be actively listening, not just trying to think of your next comeback. This was hard for me to learn because I was raised by narcissists, and it's a survival tool to be thinking of your next statement. I suggest you talk with her when you are both calmed down and ask what she needs in the cases when you fight. Does she want you to validate her feelings? Does she want a resolution? Does she want a hybrid? You won't know till you ask her. I encourage you to also think about what you need during these exchanges. Also, really be honest with yourself. Do you expect too much of her because she works from home? Could these things be done later once she is off work? Do you take them on because you want them done at a specific time or in a specific order? That's a good point. I'm just at a loss as to what to do in that instance. I guess it just feels like she's seeing the world a certain way, and when I even suggest an alternative viewpoint, I get shouted down. She's saying you're not listening to me. We've all been guilty of this BTW, so you're not alone, because the conversations are going like this. I'm upset about X. These are my reasons for doing X. Not helpful. The issue is that she's upset. That's what needs to be addressed, not X. Imagine if she said, I'm so sad I just found out my dog died, and you respond with an explanation about why dogs eventually need to die. Not helpful. Don't explain anything. Just address the emotion. What would you say to someone who's stressed? You'd probably try to make them feel calm and safe. Maybe give them a hug. Do that. After the emotion has been addressed, you can discuss the dishes. Also, don't get defensive and make it about you. I feel unappreciated / I don't always complain. Focus on the issue at hand, which is her feeling stressed. You can bring up your own concerns about feeling unappreciated in a separate conversation. This will make her feel heard. You have a communication issue and you are answering what you believe she asked, and she is upset because she isn't hearing the response to the statement she believed she made. Revise the example. I feel stressed every day when you're coming home from work. She works from home, because I feel like I am pressured to clean my dishes, walk the dog, etc. before you get home. I feel this way because you always complain about it. You, what I am hearing is that you feel I think you do not do enough around the house while I am away from the house. You continually rephrase what you think she said in your own words until she agrees that you understand what she is asking. Then you can address the question she is asking. Reading your response and her questions, you are both misunderstanding each other. You're not listening to me means you are not acknowledging how she feels. Instead, you're only focused on how you feel, which comes off as if she does nothing. A better response is, I didn't realize that's how you feel. I'm sorry that I make you feel that way. What can I do going forward so that you don't have to feel like that? You can also suggest maybe making a specific day a cleaning day or something where you both do it together. Also, realize just because she works from home doesn't necessarily mean she's just chilling at home all day doing nothing. I used to work from home for like 2 years and was so mentally drained from it that I was often too tired to do much else afterwards. Meanwhile, my ex would throw in my face how he worked whenever we got into arguments, as if I didn't because I worked at home and he went out. I work a physical labor job now where I'm lifting heavy parts repeatedly all day. I'm nowhere near as tired as I was working from home. Your partner's communication. I feel stressed. I feel like I am pressured to clean before you arrive home. I feel this way because you always complain about it. Your communication. It's annoying. I feel unappreciated. I take on more responsibility than you. So your partner has told you how she feels and what the cause is. You have responded by reiterating your complaints, which makes her even more stressed. Argument begins. I feel statements are actually a really good approach to basic communication next time you guys have an issue. Instead of getting defensive/argumentative, start by paraphrasing what she has told you, to show her that you have heard what she said and understand her experience. Then you can respond with sentences that also start with I feel. See if that helps her understand your point of view without feeling attacked. I mean, you aren't listening to her. I feel stressed when you come home and complain about the dishes. I only complain about the dishes half the time and they do bother me. You two need to learn to solve problems together. If she gets stressed about chores, sit down together and make a chore chart and a schedule. For example, you do after-work walkies, she does dishes before bed. Accommodate her need for chill time after work and your need to not do all the chores. Yes, they are both working all day. The difference is that her work is at home. It's easy to fall into the trap of work from home means they can do chores during the day, which is often not possible. A chore chart and the expectation that things will be done at some point before bed instead of expected to complete upon his arrival home would be beneficial. Associating feelings of trepidation and anxiety when your partner is coming is not good. I do think that a lot of women are socialized that they are responsible for keeping a good house, taking care of their man and family, etc. They can feel significant anxiety and self-judgment if they don't live up to those external standards. While women are getting better about pushing back on that societal pressure, it's not easy. More global, it sounds like both OP and his GF need to learn to communicate and problem solve. One of the easiest ways to problem solve is to ask the person with the problem how they would fix it. I feel so stressed when you come home and complain. I heard you. How would you solve this? Don't complain and don't do the dishes. I will do the dishes after we have dinner. A big thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Relationship Stories that'll leave you inspired. If these tales touched your heart, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss an episode filled with stories that'll leave you in awe.